Hello. Hello, check. Two. Are you there? Are you there? Who's with me? Hello? Who's out there? Give me a hell yeah. Another Rob eating thumbnail for YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for that one. Is it me you're looking for? Chin Chin. Oh, that's pretty good. That was much needed. Another croissant sandwich. What a way to start the day. Very good. What was the name of that one ingredient that you rotate through the stir fry? Something like Lao Gan Ma. One who reads Lao Gan Ma. It's a worldwide phenomenon. I didn't actually realize this. I just, I was looking at a recipe a couple months back for peanut sauce. I've always wanted to be able to make a good peanut sauce, and I've never really been happy with the results. And it just said to include chili crisp. And I was like, okay. And I just went to the Korean grocery near where I live, and I was like, oh, okay, here's some chili crisp, and I got that. And just ever since I got it, I just started putting in everything. And then one time I posted it on Twitter about how much I used it. And then like thousands of people liked it. They're like, yeah, and I didn't realize this has become like a worldwide phenomenon, the Lao Gan Ma. I didn't even realize. But it is. Yeah, it's a flavor. You can put it in whatever, and it's going to instantly improve. It's going to instantly improve whatever you're making significantly. I mean, not, within reason. But frankly, I've put it in some weird. I put it on vanilla ice cream one time, and that was excellent. I made like a nice dinner, and then instead of I wanted to have like a little dessert, little something, but to make it kind of fancy, I threw a bit of that in there, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. Really recommend that, actually. What was in the sando? Yeah, it was just some of my I just had a bit of leftover salami, Havarti, some pickles, some pickled eggplant, spicy pickled eggplant, mayo, mustard, air fryer, 2-3 minutes. It turned my pretty decent ramen into some of the best noodles I've ever made. For sure. It instantly elevates anything. What kind of salami? I don't know. It's actually one of these packs that has like 3 different kinds. And I don't know if I can recall the 3 different kinds. I like the label. Yeah, it's great stuff. Very good. Sounds delicious and reminded me that I did not have breakfast. Solo parenting this week has made me do that. For sure, I've actually been solo parenting as well this week. Which has been fine, but, it's tiring. It's tiring. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on right now at Casa del Russo. Adults have a finite quantity of imagination. Well, that's true. That's true. The thing I've been doing with my kid this week that he really likes, because he watches a lot of like gaming YouTube videos, and he really wants to have a YouTube page, but I'm still not comfortable like doing that with him. But I've just been making some videos with him just that he can look at, and he loves it so much. He just loses his mind laughing so hard. We've been playing Human Fall Flat. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that one, but we've been just going through that and just like not on video, but just with some just talking into the microphone while playing the game. Yeah, I'm gonna have a whole backlog of content. He thinks it's so funny. Oh my god. And I really like play things up to try and make him laugh too. He thinks it's just like the best thing ever. So I've been doing that. I'm trying to find a balance between doing that and not be doing it too much. Like I said, it's like it's good for him to do other things aside from that, and I do try to focus on that. We have not been getting to school on time. Today we did, fortunately, but the seasons change like this and my son starts sleeping in like an extra like hour and a half almost. It's hard to get him. Then the other day I slept in too. And I woke up at like 8:30. It's like, okay, I have to do this whole process from waking up in my bed to him getting dropped off at school in like 30 minutes. Sure, that should be no problem. No problem at all. Hello, Husker. What's up? Oh, my kid's school starts at 7:35. I just don't think we could do it. I don't think we could do it. Ironically, my son wakes up in the summer when there's no school. He would be able to wake up on time for that. During the year when there is school, that would be extremely difficult. His morning bell rings at like 8:55. And even that sometimes is tricky. Yeah. That would be so hard. Give him a latte. Yeah. Get him one of those banned prime drinks that have the extra caffeine. Make him mainline one of those. If school was in Roblox, kids would never be late. That's true, yeah. That's absolutely right. Unfortunately, we live in 1984, so school is not Roblox. Yet. Not yet, anyways. Please, Presidency, give us Roblox school. Please. Yeah, I picked up these apple crisps. These apples. Honey Crisp apples. Apple Crisp is a cereal. Or that's not Apple Jacks. And Sugar Crisp. I'm mixing up like 5 different things right now. But they're so big. They're like little, like look at the size of this apple. It's outrageous. And this is like half gone. It's like a small pumpkin. I mean, I'm not complaining, but like, calm down, you know? It honestly sounds good. The crunches you're giving sound crisp. They're very good. It is very, as people know, I like a crunch, a solid crunch with both my apples and my grapes. I don't want a gummy apple or a gummy grape. I want a nice solid snap. Nothing worse than you having some grapes and you have one that's all like not crisp like that. I don't know. I've never really tried the frozen grapes. I don't know. I tried a sugar bee apple the other day and thought, ooh, I bet Rob would like the crunch on this one. Great flavor. Sugar bee, huh? I'll have to keep my eye out for that one. It's weird that one time last year around this time, I found that one new kind of apple, a cosmic crisp. And I've never seen it in the store since. I'm starting to wonder if I hallucinated it. I know I didn't because I talked about it on the show. There's a video evidence of me eating the cosmic crisp. But it's like what it's like a ghost story or something. You go, hey, do you have any more of those cosmic crisps? We haven't had cosmic crisps around these parts and going on 25 years now. Not since that night. Not since that one fateful night. I'm also often thinking of Rob throughout the day. I hope so. I hope more people are. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough that people hang out here 3-4 hours a day with me, actually. If you're not kind of thinking about wondering what I'm up to, thinking about things that I might like, if you're not doing that, you got to step up your game. This show is only on the air, 4 hours a day around. There's plenty more hours in the day that you could be spending thinking about what I'm up to and different things like that. Cosmic Crisp died 15 years ago this very night. I often think about how after stream, Rob goes down to his bat cave and swims in his Soros money pool. You know what? I've actually been thinking about this lately. Because, it's a priority for me trying to earn a living. I'm not really shy about that. I have a kid. I really need to be able to earn a living, and this is how I've been trying to do that. That's not something that's a secret, but I really often think seriously how much I would need to be happy in my life, and it's really not much. I was looking at people that were signing these big deals with Twitch. I saw an article about how they're scaling back some of these big contracts because they were giving out these big 7-figure, 8-figure contracts to big gamers, Ninja, and whoever else. And it's I really genuinely think if someone were to sign me to a $10 million contract, the main thing that I would do with that is just pay my year's rent at my apartment and just do groceries. And I'd be like, this is great. Just pay my bills, pay off my credit card bill, and that's it. I really don't you know what I mean? Why would you even ever need more than that? That's literally all that I would need. And then start the Institute. Of course, that's another thing I've been thinking about lately. Maybe there's some toys or different things that I might get. What's that? A couple thousand bucks? Maybe a new phone, some new computer, some new stuff. Yeah, sure. Maybe I'd get a big OLED TV. Maybe I'd get an OLED TV if someone just gave me a big pile of money. The dream life is just being able to comfortably put all bills on autopay. That would be so sick, and have zero credit card debt. Yeah, and just be able to go just to the grocery store once a week and just fill up on whatever you want, whatever you need. What is that? That's not much. That's not much annually to be able to subsidize that. Asking to survive. Yeah. Hold on, Mr. Big Spinner. An OLED? Well, that would be my big splurge, you know, because I like films, I like movies, I like my nightly movie. So yeah, I'd like to have a big like mounted 72-inch OLED. You know, that'd be nice. That's a couple $1,000. You know, I probably wouldn't buy like a big fancy car or anything. I can just take I have my Hyundai Elantra, and I can take the bus anywhere I want in the city. Projectors are better. That's interesting. Did you see that TikTok of the recent grad who was lamenting the 9-to-5 workday? Yeah, I did see that. I actually wanted to look at that on the stream because I saw all these people, of course, like making fun of her and dunking at her, but I was like, she's right. Like, this sucks. It sucks to live like that. We're not meant to live like that. Human beings are not meant to live like that. Spending like 60 hours of your week working at some shitty job and commuting and not being paid for the commute, and paying more and more in rent and more in groceries, and just having less and less time to yourself. No time to learn how to paint, no time to do poetry, no time to go out and see friends, no time to go to the library, no time to go on vacation. Human beings are not meant to live like this. I'm sorry. It's miserable. It's a miserable way to live. And I've had many shitty jobs. And every time I've had one of these shitty jobs, I've always thought, this is like not... Why is this? Why are we living like this? Who decided that we had to do this? Having some HR asshole pull you into their office to talk about how you fit with the company culture. You know, we're a family. We're a family here at Bell Canada. Don't you want to be part of the Bell Canada family, or do you want to continue to isolate yourself? Like, this is not normal. This is not normal whatsoever. The sheer volume of people bragging about working more, doing more pointless, soul-crushing work just to stay under a roof and eat shitty, unhealthy food. The peasant mentality is so ingrained in our society, it's depressing, for sure. Like, that's what people ever making fun of that girl. I worked 70 hours a week. I worked 80 hours a week. I never have time to do anything. I never see my family. I sit in traffic all day. And she's complaining. It's like, why aren't you complaining? That's awful what you just said. Why aren't you complaining? You should be out there complaining too. It's such a weird mentality to me. Doing group chants at Walmart at 5 a.m. for your 12-hour shift. Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, and like the job that I have now, which is this predominantly, it's its own special hell. It's its own special grind. It's also really great in some ways. I've talked about the ways where it's not so great. Not having an actual, one of those salaries that's guaranteed, from day to day. That's not great. Not having any benefits or vacation time. That's not great. I like to not be to go to an office and to live in that kind of corporate culture anymore. I like that because that makes me miserable to do. So, I love this actual job. I would like to get a regular salary from it. Ideally, that would be more. That's the sacrifice you have to make when you start building an independent media career. You get out of that sort of daily grind, but you get involved in this whole other special hell. The content hamster wheel. You don't have interminable pointless meetings. Yeah, no, it's true. But she was totally right. That person that was complaining. It's like, we are not meant to live this way. Nixon wanted to set up UBI in the form of tax credits that would bring people above the poverty line. Now we only have Andrew Yang promoting a VAT to pay for $1,000 a month with no other social safety nets. Yeah, of course, and now we've just accepted the Economics 101 framework too, that as soon as you increase people's income like that, it just gets gobbled up by inflation. That just becomes a money transfer to landlords and grocery store owners and whoever else. No, Nixon, and that's the very fascinating thing about Nixon. You know, we grew up hearing about Nixon and how his awful criminality, and many things that he did do were criminal, especially when it comes to a foreign policy standpoint, Cambodia, etc. But probably the last American New Deal president. I think no president since Nixon has been as left-wing as Nixon was. And just think about how disturbing the implications of that are. Think about how totally fucked that is. Yeah, it's very bleak. It makes sense why they removed him. Yeah, I mean, and he was also trying to tug at these threads and trying to reestablish White House control over like American foreign policy and rein in the CIA, and that was a big part of it as well. And then that was the signal for the full-fledged neoliberal era to kick off. Met Mao as well. Nixon like inadvertently helped to kick off the whole like resurgence of China, and has led to the point now where 40 years later China's on the verge of surpassing the United States and is like on the verge of, you know, surpassing the entire empire. Nixon inadvertently played a big role in that. Yeah, Quaker Oats guy, I have Nixon land. It's right behind me. You can see it right there. One of my many books that I have yet to read. Hassan sometimes said that Nixon was a Maoist third worldist, and it's hilarious. I mean, it's obviously ridiculous. Like, Nixon, no matter what all these things I'm saying, was a war criminal who killed millions of people in Cambodia. And, you know, in Vietnam and Laos as well. But I think his role in setting up, you know, initiating that whole new era for China and for, you know, Dengism and the opening up of China's economy, which has led China to now be on the verge of kind of like supplanting the US in terms of its like hegemony, even though it's not even trying to be a hegemon. But so inadvertently, he ended up creating that situation. Rob, have you seen the latest opinion poll on Biden? He dropped 11 points on approval rating among Dems. I mean, I think I have seen it. Yeah. Biden's approval rating hits the lowest point within his own party, dipping 11 points. Among registered voters, he's now at 37%. It really feels like something really seismic is happening right now. Like it's not just seismic in the scale of violence and destruction in Gaza, which we're going to continue to focus on, but the way that there's this split happening. You know, it's that Marxist term, right? The contradictions are heightened. And I feel like right now, I don't know if other people feel this way. I get the impression that you do. That's why I put this in the title right now. I feel like the contradictions are about as heightened as they have been in my adult life. I felt like this, and I don't want to feel like we're on the verge of something crazy happening, because I felt like this often. It's been an increasing sense of feeling this way, really since my entire adult life. But you know, the financial crisis, Trump, COVID, Ukraine, just the economy continually like getting kicked down the road on the economy. Every single time it feels like the big bubble is about to burst. You know, which bubble? I mean, you take your pick. There's a number of them. So I don't want to predict that anything crazy is going to happen, because I've often been wrong about this feeling, but it really does. There's this really profound sense right now that there's this like shift. This shift happening. Everything that we've been talking about, the whole like multipolarity, the decline of the empire, the decline of the U.S. empire, the Anglo-American empire, the rules-based order, whatever you want to call it. It really, really feels like it's like in accelerated mode right now. This is what I was talking. I wanted to put this in the title today to speak to this feeling. To speak to this feeling that I'm having and that others are having. You are not crazy for feeling this way. You are not crazy for feeling this way. When you see this big wave of propaganda and our whole media class is part of it and our political class is part of it, and just like it's that contradiction. We're the rules-based order. Are the human rights respecters, the defeaters of fascism, all the myths that we tell ourselves, right? This is what we've been talking about for a couple of years now. All the myths we tell ourselves about our empire, whether we're talking about Canada or the UK or America, all the myths of the empire are just like going up in flames right now, I feel like, and everyone sees it. Everyone sees it, and some people don't want to admit that that's what they're looking at, but a lot of people do see it and see it clearly. All these myths are just going up in smoke right now. And I don't think this is something that people can just go back to normal after this. Like, it feels like there's this fissure opening up. I don't know if I've just been like imbibing in too many substances or anything like that. But like, I don't want to be too philosophical or whatever, but it feels like this fissure is opening up and that you can see, the cracks are forming, and you can squeeze yourself into the cracks, and you can start pushing them apart even farther. And more people are able to see through that veil. Am I crazy? Do you think I'm crazy for feeling this way? Does anyone agree with this feeling? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? It feels like that right now. I personally think you're insane. Well, maybe I am. Maybe I am a little bit insane. I don't know. Like Sankara said, you need to be a bit of a madman. We need to be madmen. It's just strange. It really feels like, something is that the earth is moving under our feet right now. Better this kind of crazy than QAnon. Well, that's why things like QAnon are becoming popular, or became popular, because people have that feeling, and it's alienation, right? It's alienation. Everyone is feeling that alienation. The contradictions are heightening for everybody, but because certain people don't have the answers, or certain people have been so brain poisoned for years of relentless propaganda from birth. Relentless empire propaganda, that they're so twisted up inside, they're so confused, that they take this feeling of alienation and isolation and they go off in these weird directions. I get what you mean. Everything my age, 25, seems like they're taking on increasingly radical leftist political beliefs. It's crazy people freaking out even again now about like TikTok, because they're saying because of like the TikTok algorithm, there's all these teens that hate Israel now. Like, we got to shut this off. We got to turn this off. It must be because of some like Chinese propaganda devious thing that they're doing, that they're making people. And it's like, no, people are just like engaging with this content and they're seeing the answers for what they are. Yet it was TikTok that did it, not the apartheid and genocide, right? That must be the explanation. I think anti-Zionism and pro-Zionism are going to no longer be compatible on a domestic level. Political parties will have to be either pro or anti. The Dems are going to split. The NDP are going to split. Labor is already split. I mean, that seems like part of it, right? It's like we can't... That's a big part of the change that's happening right now. We're seeing one of the most depraved things that I've ever seen. And we've lived through the Iraq War. We lived through a lot of depravity over the last 20 years, even, to say nothing of Western foreign policy since the post-war period, which we talk about a lot. But
you can count on me.
There's something about this current moment
to talk you through all this.
Fermi Zero, thank you for the 5 months of Prime. There's something about this current moment, though, that it's just so mask off, and that's the big contradiction people are seeing, you know? We're the rules-based order. And we stand against human rights abuses, and we support freedom and democracy. Western liberal democracy, that's what it's all about. That's what we've been told since we were born, you know? That's what we've been told since we were born. Western liberal democracy, it's the best, it's the end of history. It's the best possible way to organize your society. We have these liberal and progressive values. We care about human rights. We defeated fascism. We're spreading democracy and freedom around the world, and press freedom and freedom of speech. And all of these contradictions are just being exposed as being lies. It's all lies. It was always a lie. And everyone sees that right now. They see that our enlightened progressive leaders are all standing by while our close ally, who we always stand with, are dropping thousands of bombs on people that are crammed into a 2 million person concentration camp. And they're repeatedly doing it with big smiles on their faces while they do it, about how enlightened they are and civilized they are, and how horrible their enemies are, how horrible and violent and ruthless their enemies are, while they engage in this absolute barbarism. You know? And people see it. I really think people are seeing that, and certainly everyone around the world has already seen it, but it's so clear now. It's so obvious to everyone how much that our entire society is just based on this kind of lie about our values. Rules-based order, the order. All the white countries that trip over their own nuts to exempt themselves from following any of those rules. Yeah, and like we've talked about, it's always that same map. It's always that same fucking map. And we're on the wrong side of it yet again. The whole thing about Hamas, too, I think is really interesting. The way Hamas is... I've talked about this a lot, right? And especially yesterday. The way Hamas has been used to, like, just make this link in people's minds. And just people haven't accepted it. People, the idea that Palestine is Hamas, Palestinians are Hamas, Gaza is Hamas, the Palestinian Health Registry, Hamas. Like, every single thing. Oh, when they're talking about their friends and family that have died, Hamas. When they're telling about the total numbers of people that have died and children that have died, Hamas. They're lying. You know, it's just continually making this link, and like we've been talking about, people are not accepting that. People are not accepting this justification. And that's the whole thing as well, is when you see this liberal argument about what Israel is doing right now, well, Hamas, you know, no one can ever say anything positive about that. They're a designated terrorist organization. You're gonna sit there and say, even though you stand with Palestinian people, that you support this designated terrorist organization. Let's just, you know what you should do? Take a little look at the map, one of the global maps again, and look at the countries that recognize Hamas as a terrorist organization and which countries don't. And I'll tell you, spoiler alert, it's the same map. It's the same map yet again. Oh, I mean, Emperor's New Clothes on day one, we were talking about the conspiracy theorizing about Putin and Hamas. It's insane. Trump. That's why you should stand with Israel's right to commit genocide, because Trump told Putin the secrets to defeating the Iron Dome, and then Putin told Iran, and then Iran told Hamas. This is my point, though. If you feel this way right now, it's like you're not crazy. Look at that. Look at that, Diego. Look at that. It's the same map. It's the one map. Yet again. Always the same map. I wish I could find... I wish I could find my tweet about the map. I have a tweet about the map from like 2 years ago. I can't remember the words that I used to describe it. Yeah, the same ones as Undrip, exactly. Always the same map. Same map as the accusing China of Uyghur genocide. Same map. Standing with Ukraine or being neutral. Being neutral on Ukraine or supporting Putin. Same map.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I brought up Palestine solidarity at my Union Young Workers Committee last night. Happy SUBVERSIVE.
Yeah. And then it's true. Yeah, once you recognize the one map, you see it everywhere. And that's our empire. That is the empire that we live in. Waiving the patent for COVID vaccines. Resolution on combating the glorification of Nazism. Declaration on the rights of indigenous peoples. UN votes on the status of Palestine. It's the same map every time. That's our empire. That's the empire that we live in. And that's what I think people are realizing, right? That's what, if we want to talk about people waking up or being this feeling that people are having, it's that we're on the wrong side. That we're the bad guys. It's always the same map. This is our empire. This is us. And we can vote in our society. We can vote for different factions of the ruling class that have slightly different values. We can't vote to change this map, though. We cannot vote. We have no power. We have zero power when we vote to change this, to change what our empire is and what it's about. We live actually in an authoritarian dictatorship. And we've all been tricked. We've been bamboozled to not see it. We don't see it, right? But we're starting to see it now. People are starting to see it now. Yeah, we can't vote out the Fourth Reich. No, we can't. Yeah, it's like that scene in My Dinner with Andre, the guy says. It's like they were living in the concentration camp, but they helped build the camp, and they're proud of the camp, and they never want to leave. I don't know. I'm just getting this sense right now that, like, as horrifying as this moment is, and it is horrifying, I'm not downplaying that, and I don't want to use the suffering of people to like try and advocate for some kind of utopianism. I don't think that's a productive thing to do. But it feels like we're reaching a turning point at this moment, this exact moment right now. I keep on waiting for the moment to happen, and the wave recedes. The tidal wave
use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Regime Pilled, thanks for 15 months tier 1. I brought up Palestine at my Union Young Workers Committee last night. Happy SUBVERSIVE. Thank you, Regime Pilled. I appreciate it. Thanks, Dr. Maggot, as well, for the 100 friend coin. In the words of Gramsci, to arrive together in or to tell the truth is a communist and revolutionary act. You're made to feel crazy by design. That's the thing. I keep on waiting for this turning point, and sometimes it feels like it's happening, At the beginning of COVID, I really felt that feeling as well. The line started going down. The economy seemed like it was on the verge of crashing, and it was like, oh shit, here we go. Here we go. And then it just keeps recovering. It's like that Hunter S. Thompson thing. You see the high water mark where the wave breaks back. or the Bernie campaign. For a moment, it felt like there's this big changing thing happened, although now that is especially revealed to be an illusion. Although the idea of Bernie being personally like the turning point, it was an illusion, but I think the whole movement that coalesced around Bernie was also a sign of those contradictions, though, because people were being pulled into that movement because of this feeling of alienation. And obviously Bernie wasn't the answer, but it was an expression of this kind of feeling that people have, you know? And you just keep feeling it start to happen, and then it recedes, you know? And it really feels like now there's this turning point that's happening. I don't think things can just go back to how they were prior to this. I really don't. And Bernie made people to feel comfortable to talk about it. I mean, that's no matter how many times I might be disappointed by Bernie lately, especially right now. Bernie can't even call for a ceasefire, which I think is pathetic, frankly. But that's one thing that I will always respect. For me and for millions of other people, he kind of helped to open that door. And then, at that point, it's up to you to walk through it. And I think I have tried to do that. I think other people in this community have tried to do that. After Obama, I had high hopes for Bernie, but he's better than the rest of them. I would say that as well, but it's a low bar. It's a low bar. Anyway, I feel personally right now that, it's our job more than ever to stand against this. We've got to do everything that we can to dismantle this empire from the inside. We really do. We have to try and help do whatever we can to dismantle this empire from the inside and help the rest of the world free itself from being under the boot of our own empire. I really think that's like the only way forward. If you're watching this and you feel this way, I'm doing it while I'm eating an apple. It's pretty funny, but pretty ridiculous. If you've been feeling crazy lately, looking at the news, looking at your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed and seeing your friends and family, things that they're saying, you feel alone, you feel alienated, you feel isolated, you feel like you're losing your mind, you're not crazy. You are not crazy to feel this way. And in fact, we're right. We're correct. We're also the majority. If you look at this map, you're not alone. Even though it might feel like that. We're actually the majority of decent people in the world. There's a handful of very powerful people that control this, that control our empire, that are benefiting from all this pain and violence and war right now. And there's a lot of people that have swallowed all the propaganda and all the lies with this empire. And some people, even when they feel these contradictions heightening, they double down and they triple down on this, on their support, no matter how nonsensical it is. But more and more people are waking up to this. Oh, Diego, thanks. This is what I'm looking at. It's even starting to benefit the imperial core less and less. It's running on inertia and our own hagiographies. Well, that's the thing. I think you can get people to be okay with the level of violence and exploitation that subsidizes our empire if they really feel like they're benefiting from that. Then they'll be willing to overlook it. They'll be willing to listen to the stories that we tell ourselves about our history and our values. Because they're like, well, I'm doing fine, and this seems pretty good to me. Western liberal democracy seems pretty good. But less and less people are getting that experience. More and more people are falling through the cracks. Western liberal democracy is not working for most people now. People see, it's not just war, it's climate change as well. People see this climate change ticking time bomb, and they see our leaders just spending the last 30 years doing nothing about it, except making it worse. And they'll even see progressive leaders saying, like, we believe in this, we believe the science. We believe in the science, and we're going to do this and that, but like not doing anything, or doing something that maybe we should have done 30 years ago with no time left on the clock. People are not able to get a home. People are not able to afford to live anymore. You have to get a job with some fucking horrific, ruthless gig economy tech company that treats you like a robot. You know? So people are way less willing to believe these lies, because it's not even the average person benefiting from this anymore. Like maybe during the New Deal, during the 50s and 60s, you could make this case to people. This is the best way of doing things. Look at how great your life is. They destroyed the New Deal. These people, it's a death cult, right? They're in a death cult. They had a situation set up where everyone was on board in this. They had a sort of somewhat of a social democracy. They had a society that was set up where there was some crumbs that had been thrown to working class people so people could live lives of basic dignity, you know, but they couldn't have that though. They couldn't have even that. They had to take it all away. They had to restore the way things were prior to that moment. You know, the most prosperous economic time in American history was when the top marginal tax rate was like 90%. And they couldn't live like that, even though the people at the top of the food chain at that time were still doing fantastic. They were still earning more wealth than they could ever spend in one lifetime, but it's not enough for them though, because they're sick. They have a sickness. And they had to take it back by force if they had to. And they had to have the whole world, you know? So they took it all away, and that was 40 years ago. When like we were talking about with Nixon and Reagan, like that was 40 years ago. They put the final finishing touches on whatever was remained of the New Deal, and now we're living in the consequences of that 40 years later. And no, that's why no one's buying it anymore, because now it's not working for the vast majority of people anymore.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
The level of greed is unbelievable to me. It's psychotic. I know. Dr. Maggot, thank you for the gifted sub. No, I know. Like I was saying, it's like there's the amount of money that I would need to make in order to be like perfectly happy and content in my life is like really not that much. Like maybe it's more than it might have been 20 years ago because of certain things, but like it is really not that much. The idea that anyone needs more than that in their lives to me is nuts. Is this basically an example of why Russia's invading Ukraine? Yes, because like even when Russia was trying to organize, was the main player in organizing a different kind of global economy and society. We spent decades and decades trying to destroy that to ensure that like only these certain privileged ownership class would have everything. They did that, and then it wasn't enough for them. They had to continue humiliating them, and then they had to meddle in Ukrainian politics for literally decades. They had to create a U.S. client state right on their doorstep and take their military bases and park missiles right in their country, right on their doorstep. Rather than just leave well enough alone. Like you won, you overthrew socialism, you got everything that you wanted, just leave it alone now. And they had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Because the line has to go up infinitely. Infinitely has to go up infinitely. It's true. Yeah. Infinite growth. Infinite growth, and now it's just destroying the whole world, and more people are realizing that. Ending up in World War because Joe's brother and Hunter unemployable in the private sector. Jesus. This is kind of my theme that I wanted to talk about today, you know? If you feel this way, if you feel like you're going crazy right now, you're not crazy. There is something going on. There's like this seismic shift that's happening right now. It's just what we're doing right now is waiting to see if it's the seismic shift. Confidentially, I am crazy. Well, you know, it's me too as well, but not about this though. Not about this. About some other things, yeah, okay, maybe. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like this is a really just like a moment. This is a moment in history, a turning point. I can't shake this feeling, you know? I really can't. I've been feeling it so strongly over the last couple of days. Like I said, I felt this way before, so I'm not predicting anything's going to happen. I'm not trying to be like extreme or doomer or anything like that, you know? But I feel in this way that there's this seismic shift that's going on probably more strongly than I've ever felt before. We got a number of like 70s songs that are, or other songs as well. Says, I can't fight this feeling anymore. I think the turning point happened already. We're just starting to see the effects now. Well, you can just go back through time and wonder where the turning point was, right? Was it COVID? Was it Trump? Was it Obama? Was it Occupy Wall Street? Was it Bernie? Was it Bush? Was it Iraq? Was it Reagan? Like, you can just go back through the years and to find the moment. 9/11, yeah, of course. 9/11, you could point to that for sure. Moments that kind of accelerate this, the empire, the decline of the empire. The housing crash, for sure. Like, you can go back and look at all these moments. This has been my whole adult life, just a series of these moments. When the 2000 election, sure, yeah, I mean, absolutely. People ask me, like, how did you get radicalized? Like, how did you come to believe in all this, like, Marxism or, like, left-wing stuff? And I just feel like it's a natural outcome of being 40 years old. Again, like, this whole era that I'm talking about started right when I was born. Or just a few years before. And it's been my whole life. And as long as I've been an adult and have been paying attention to this stuff, it's just been one incident after another that's like hitting you over the head with this idea that, like, this is not right. The way we have set things up in our world and our society is not right. What you are told about our history and our values and our culture is not right. There's something wrong. With Susan Sarandon. The hilarious contradiction where people are driving SUVs but have to go wait in a miles-long food line to get food rations. Yeah. I'm the same age as neoliberalism. And Carrie Wave said, caught yesterday's VOD. Thanks for calling it the hen-ringing progressives. We just got to do it now, don't we, Carrier Wave? We just have to. We can't play this game anymore. You know? Like I was saying, we see these fissures in the narrative. opening up, these cracks in people's perceptions of how our world operates, and we got to just like wedge ourselves into those cracks and widen them even higher, even wider. Continue heightening those contradictions for everyone. And you don't get that by going, oh, I'm sorry, I condemn this and that, and I blah, 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 and trying to be taken seriously. That's not how you, I think, speak to this feeling that people have. Seeing the car lines for fucking water during the Texas ice storms was crazy, and people thinking that the snow was fake as well. People responding like that. Oh, and it's like people's brains are really broken, aren't they? It's no surprise, I guess, like how COVID broke people's brains even more. It was already happening, right? The snow is fake. We covered that on this show. That's how long I've been doing this now. They were taking the ice. I have a YouTube video about it. They were taking the ice and like trying to melt it and being like, what? Medieval peasant brain. It's true. And people receiving $45K heating bills while Ted Cruz vacations in Cancun, who still has a great job as a U.S. senator. Like that, when that happened, no one stormed Ted Cruz's home and like put him on a citizens tribunal. Not one person even thought to do that. Maybe some people did, but like, you know, talk about peasant mindset. It's just this feeling I've been getting, like that this is like the work that it's in the work that I do, whatever on here, whatever, it's to speak to this feeling that people have, this alienation that people have, and try and get people to really see like the answers, really point people in a positive direction, point people that have that feeling, and point them in a better direction. Like, this is how long I've been doing this show now. It's so funny. Who remembers this? Hello, everyone. It's Rob here. Listen, it's... Okay, we don't need to plug this stuff. Take a look at this, folks, because this is explosive.
Okay. Doing another one, because people said that they
Fresh ice for
Fresh
snow
ice.
for all the haters.
Fresh snow for all the haters, folks. I am using a VPN, don't worry. I'm on the dark web right now.
Okay, here we go.
So we don't want to have any like deep
Flame.
state types
Come on, Flame.
taking down this important intel.
Not melting. And turning black.
Oh shit.
Didn't melt. Come on, Flame. There's a flame. Come on. Not melting.
Not melting and turning black.
And turning black. It's not melting.
It's not melting and it's turning black. I swear I just saw some drip off as soon as she lifts it up.
See?
It's dripping down her hand. It's literally dripping off her hand right now. Okay, listen. I don't want to...
You can count on me. You're going to have good
Anyway.
old Rob to talk you through all this.
Ice
quite a-
instantly melts when put in a greater than freezing temp environment. I learned this in science school.
Thank you, Sir Brain Damage, for 20 months tier 1. It's been a long time. I've been doing this show now. It's pretty crazy to look back on this kind of stuff. Yeah, no, but so that was a sign for me that like people are not okay. People are not doing okay. You know, it's not surprising that when COVID happened, that complete, like all these people, like I guarantee this lady that we're looking at right now melting the snow, she's full. If you look at the shit that she's into now, I'm sure she's fully down the like QAnon, save the children, whatever, like total wacko conspiracy world. Not vaccinated. No. Never. Where does the ice in your drink go? I don't know. It's amazing. You put it in there, it just disappears. It goes to the ice dimension. What the fuck is this? Thank you, Ben, for sharing this. Winston Churchill going down a water slide. Wish it went straight to hell. How does your thermos know how to keep things cold? Cold things cold, but hot things hot. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It runs down the outside of the glass. How does it get from inside to outside? Communism. That's right. Anyway, I guess we'll get to some video content now. I just I wanted to talk a little bit about that feeling of alienation right now and try and speak to people that are feeling this. I mean, and often in the work that I do, I'm trying to speak to that feeling that people have. And I've really been feeling especially strongly lately that, there are these fissures opening. The contradictions are heightening. It's getting to a point where it's like the cognitive dissonance is just impossible to maintain for people. I think I invented the fridge microwave in a couple episodes ago. Mondo Michel, that's mine actually. That's patented. That idea is patented for me. I don't believe, you know what? I don't believe people are getting dumber either. But what I was saying though is that I do think people have this feeling of alienation and they don't know what to do with it. We live in this really reactionary and deeply anti-communist society, and people I think are shielded from learning about certain concepts that would make them understand why things are the way they are. That's what Marxism is for me, right? Marxism was the thing for me that once I started really learning about it and reading about it, it makes everything click into place. And you're like, oh, okay. It's like this, we're putting on glasses. But people are told not to engage with it. They're told this is the most evil thing you can possibly read. Mass murder, Stalin, bad, authoritarianism, 1984. Don't ever read that stuff. Don't ever engage with it. And when people don't have those tools, they can't understand what's going on in their life or in their society, and they go off in all these fucked up directions. They go down the paths of right-wing conspiracy theories. They blame Jews for everything. They become these anti-Semites. They believe in all these wacky conspiracies because they don't have the tools to actually understand who are the people that are in power. In our society, how do we take that power away from them? All those tools are in there. But people are trained to reject it. As soon as you tell someone, I'm a socialist, I'm a communist, I'm a Marxist, they're like, get away from me. They're scared. That's been intentionally programmed into people. Ironically, a lot of these people are the so-called free, they think that they're the free thinkers and all this stuff. But really, no one is more deeply propagandized than people that are like this. Yeah, like the old days when Christianity told you to avoid the evil science. For sure, yeah. It's wild that if anybody is paid what they're worth, the system we have wouldn't work. This should bother more people. It's funny because I've been hearing more rumblings of like universal basic income in Canada that they're probably like starting to talk about just because people are getting so miserable and like the conservatives are getting so popular. Who knows if it'll ever amount to anything? But you still see people freaking out about that, being like, "You want a universal basic income? Get a job." Like that's their answer. And I'm not like a big universal basic income person. It was an idea that I used to be kind of interested in, but I think overall is just a sort of band-aid that allows our horrible system to continue and perpetuate itself. But yeah, people say like, you want universal basic income, get a job, and it's like not everyone can get a job. Our whole economy is predicated on many people not having jobs. Actually, if you read Marx, you would understand that it's not possible for every single person to get a job, even if people did want to. You know, and like we saw with that viral TikTok, no one wants that because people aren't supposed to live like that. You know, we're not supposed to live in this way. Can we have just basic healthcare inside our, for our eyes and teeth? Yeah, I mean that's it. It's like it's a way to like not have to further privatize our whole system, right? Just give people money. We'll just have no more social programs. Let's have no more public education. Let's have no more healthcare. Let's have no more social housing. We'll just give people a basic income, no more disability, get rid of all those social programs. We'll give people a little basic income, and then they can use their basic income to buy those services when they need them. Like that's the ultimate expression of neoliberalism, I think. The sort of liberal side of neoliberalism anyways. But I think that's ultimately what it's about, isn't it? Like let's just dismantle whatever notion we have of having like public institutions. And we'll just give people money and then they can buy their services. They can save for their retirement. They can pay to see the doctor. They can pay to go to school. Which, of course, their universal basic income will come nowhere near covering the costs of all that, obviously. Yeah, and this is an important point too, Crad Babes. I think when we talk about how no one's meant to live in a job like that, a 9-to-5 job, it doesn't mean that like I'm anti-work. I think anti-work is a whole reactionary idea in and of itself, right? There's the whole like anti-work trend. You say you're going to have to do some labor under communism. You'll be doing much more motivated by the fact that you won't be alienated. It's from each according to their ability, each according to their need. Well, that's what I mean. It's like you would feel less alienated if you felt like your work that you were doing was contributing to something. Not just for yourself, but for everybody. When you feel like your work is just contributing to your boss's bank account, that's what's alienating. When you feel like I'm going to this job 8 hours a day, I'm filling out spreadsheets and sending emails, something that I could do from the comfort of my own home that would probably take me 3 hours a week to do. And I'm doing all this. I never have any time to myself. I never have any time to like see my friends or family, create anything interesting, do anything interesting, go on vacation. And I'm all doing it so I can pad the bank accounts of my boss and the shareholders of the company that I work for. That's what's alienating to people, you know? It doesn't mean that like if we had a different kind of economic system, just no one would work. But you could work less, first of all, and you could do something that was actually valuable. Not only valuable to yourself, but valuable to our society and our social fabric, which is give people the opposite feeling of alienation. It makes you feel like you're part of something. It makes you feel like you're building something special together. You know? Give people a sense of actual purpose. That's what's causing people to feel that alienation. I'm not one of these people that's like, no one should ever work, you know? And I saw people as well, like fucking Ian Miles Chong sharing that video, like, get a job, to the viral video of the woman that was like, people are not supposed to live like this. You know, that started us talking about this. I guess I probably should have watched it up front to set the table for this whole conversation, but Ian Miles Chong, oh, poor baby, she has to get a job. What the fuck does he do? He sits around all day. He tweets all day. That's literally what he does. Does he even have does he do anything other than tweet? He doesn't write articles. Maybe he'll do the odd Twitter space or whatever. But you literally do nothing all day. That's why I would never mock someone like that for being depressed about their shitty 9-to-5 job. He's on wingnut welfare. It's the easiest fucking job in the world, is to be some dipshit right-wing commentator. Oh, good, I'm just a right-wing commentator, so some fracking company pays me $80K a year to just talk out of my ass all the time and blame poor people and argue that we need lower taxes and less regulation. Easiest thing to do in the world if you have no soul and no empathy and you're just a fucking loser. Yeah, they all exist by the largesse of some asshole Koch brothers. Seriously, there's a whole industry of people that are working that are just, that's their whole job. To be the PR arm for these fracking company guys or weapons manufacturing guys. Work isn't even about doing the work, it's about looking busy. The whole system is a fucking sham. Yeah, I mean, it's just preposterous. When I was working in advertising, I really felt that feeling. I hated it so much. I was just why am I spending every day of my life thinking about this stuff? Why am I so stressed about going to work tomorrow because I think someone's going to yell at me about some fucking stupid thing that I didn't do, like a post about burgers or something that had a spelling mistake in it. And I'm so stressed that someone's going to yell at me. We're having important meetings about the dumbest crap you can possibly imagine. I spend all my time here and I'm so tired at the end of every week. Rob, you wrote burgers. You're fired. I did actually get fired because I was just so miserable that I couldn't fulfill my basic responsibilities anymore. I'm not even exaggerating. My brain became so fucked up. I was so depressed that I couldn't remember dates and of meetings and stuff. I was forgetting to go to meetings. I was physically messed up from it. Eventually they were just you just can't work here anymore. You're not. I was that's fair. That's pretty fair, actually. And I was happy. Man, when I lost my job, and this was right before the Christmas holidays in 2014. I guess it was, close to 10 years ago now. And I lost my job, and I had a bit of severance. I had they generously they included the Christmas vacation, so I had all of the Christmas vacation paid and a couple weeks of salary after, and then I was able to go on unemployment. And it's just January 1st came around and everyone, it's the time to go back to your job. Everyone has that feeling in the pit of their stomach. Oh, I got to go back to my job. And I was just at my home and I was just getting unemployment, the highest amount of unemployment that you can get. And I was just this is so fantastic. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I was why can't everyone just live like this? Why can't you just live like this? Why can't we all have this sometimes? I got furloughed during COVID. Between unemployment and the bonus COVID pay, I was making more than I had made being employed. Doc, not so strange. This is something that we've talked about before as well. But for America, the social benefits that were erected during COVID, we had SURB here in Canada, which was a similar feeling as well. I think for a lot of people, and you understand why they had to take that away. They had to roll that back because for the first time in some people's lives, they had that feeling. You get to get off the hamster wheel for a moment. All of a sudden, your basic needs are being met. You have time to be at home. You have time to be with your family. You have enough money to go pay rent and go to the grocery store. Maybe put a little savings aside. For millions of people, that was the first time they had ever experienced that feeling. So you know why they had to take that away. They had to roll that back really quick. And then you have these the economists like nerds going like, well, you see, this is inflationary spending. This is why the inflation is happening. Because when you provide people's basic needs, it just automatically leads to inflation. It's just this scientific mathematic process, completely ignoring the fact that there's human beings that are in that process making physical, choices to raise certain prices so they can make more money, just completely taking away all agency from those people. Yeah, seriously, Robert, unironically, we fixed poverty and they were like, oh, wait, no, we can't have that. We can't have that. Just don't let it. Just uninflate it, Lodane. She was right. She was absolutely right. So that's what we're talking about today, right? These contradictions heightening. That was one of those moments. People were like, holy shit, we don't have to live like this. Holy shit, the U.S. government, despite all the stuff that you hear in the U.S. government, that we can't afford this, we can't afford that, there's gridlock, it's too hard, we don't have the votes. The U.S. government can just snap its fingers and immediately eliminate poverty. And immediately make it so your life isn't hell. And immediately make you so your material needs are being met at any time. And people around America and Canada as well were like, holy shit, you can do that? And that's exactly why they said, whoa, no. Oh, no, we're not doing that. And we're seeing it right now. Now that that's all been taken away, now they're snapping their fingers and making billions of dollars appear, and it's going to Ukraine, to turn Eastern Ukraine into a never-ending meat grinder quagmire. They can just snap their fingers and make billions of dollars appear that goes to pay for bombs to be dropped on Palestinian children. That's not inflationary. It's not inflationary when we simply turn on the money printing machine and it goes to corrupt arms dealers and neo-Nazis in Ukraine, or it goes to these Zionist fucking psychopaths waging their war of extermination against the people that have nothing. That's not inflationary. Don't worry about that. We can snap our fingers and make that money appear, no problem. But anytime we snap our fingers and make money appear for you, that makes your life better, well, then not so much. That's bad for the economy. It's inflationary when more people can meet their needs. Or in other words, St. Lotus, this is the way that I've come to think about it. It's inflationary when wealth is being transferred down. Right? When the wealth is being transferred downwards, that's when it's bad for the economy. It's inflationary. It causes all these consequences. When the wealth is being transferred upwards, oh, but no, that's totally okay. No, don't worry about that. That's the way we want it to go. That's the way it's supposed to go. That's the proper way that things are supposed to work. Price gouging is inflation. Yeah, it's corruption. Inflation is corruption. The idea that we live in a society where powerful people that, for whatever reason, individual families that own extremely important what should be public utilities, such as our food distribution system, at times when people are struggling the most, they jack up the prices. And we not only think that that's okay, we're like, good job. Congratulations, you win. You win capitalism. Remember when Loblaws got caught price fixing and nothing happened? Now they're trying to privatize healthcare. Yeah, great, good. And what's the solution for, if we're talking about Canada? What's now the political movement that's gathering that has the potential to sweep away our current liberal government? It's a political movement that's based entirely on like giving this entire premise: inflationary spending, cutting social spending, austerity, giving your boss a tax cut. And all the people that are getting fucked by this very system are like, yes, thank you. Finally, someone says it. Finally, someone says it. There's someone brave enough to come along and talk about giving my boss a tax cut. Finally, there's someone brave enough to come along and make sure that the landlords and the capitalists are finally able to prosper in our society. And that's what most people in our country are saying, like, yes, good, thank you, good, I like this. The real hard worker, my boss. There's something that's so pathetic, isn't it? It's unbelievably pathetic. Medieval peasant mentality. This is what people have. We live in such a deeply brainwashed society that this is the answers people end up with. In fact, they blame all the problems. All the economic problems that I'm talking about, like I mentioned, are consequences of the neoliberal system that we live under. And they think it's the consequence of socialism. And that any solution that actually tries to challenge that, nationalization of resources, social safety net, government programs, universal programs, they think you need less of that. They think that's the reason that all the problems are happening. That's how fucking backwards everything is. Yeah, that's what I mean, Dr. Maggot, is they solved child poverty and they bragged about it. And then we had to unsolve giving children money because the coal baron asked and the old man to go easy on him. Yep. Can't have that. You cannot have people realizing that the United States government can snap its fingers at any time and just eliminate childhood poverty. You can't have people learning that lesson. If I was just more financially precarious, things would get better. Like, that's actually what people think. Talk about feeling alienated when you see that you're surrounded by folks that think like that in our society. Yeah, the Democrats still brag about it even after now all the gains, whatever gains were made in childhood poverty, have all been given right back. And so if you're one of these people that looks around and sees you're surrounded by people that believe this, that think this way, it makes you feel insane. That's the alienation. It makes you feel totally insane. That's what I'm here to tell you today. You're not insane. You're not crazy for looking around and being like, nothing makes sense. Nothing about our society makes sense. Nothing about our culture. Nothing about our economy makes sense. Who are my friends and neighbors and family members that believe this stuff? Like, what has gone wrong? What is this hell that we're living in? You're not crazy for thinking that. And the ultimate cure to that kind of alienation is when we all come together. When we come together and we can talk about this stuff and we can understand these concepts and understand what has been happening to us. Ugh. This is not my beautiful wife. How did I get here? Good question.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
The ultimate cure is when we come together and build this community by giving Rob slubs. Thank you, Dr. Maggot. Listen, I don't think that's the answer. I don't think that's the ultimate cure. It doesn't hurt. And you may ask yourself, is this a cult? No, it's not the answer. I'm telling you that it's not the answer. The answer is organizing, you're trying to spread this message, getting involved in your community, supporting internationalism, trying to do what we can to chip away at the empire from within. It's not the solution. However, on that subject, if you like this show and you think that it has been helpful to be part of the community and you think it's helpful to hear someone express these
You
ideas,
can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
the only
I'm
way I'm able
doing
to
my
continue
part.
to do that is if people do subscribe. So I'm not trying to sell anyone any bullshit that like the answer to all your problems, to life's problems, are to subscribe to this program. I don't think that. I'm not saying that.
We simply
But
use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
I'm not saying that at all. But if you enjoy this program, you like this kind of commentary, you like to tune in daily to hear the things that I have to say, the only way I'm able to do that is if people subscribe to the show. Like in Dr. Maggot. Rob will say that slubs do not cure alienation, but this is a lie. Give slubs, and you'll be relieved from the woes of the material world. Thank you, Dr. Maggot. And that's Dr. Maggot saying that. That's not me saying that.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Communism button grows larger with each slub.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Amazing Bird Show, for 29 months of Prime. And thank you, Sam, as well, for the gifted sub. Dr. Maggot is a licensed physician, so take that for what it is, you know? Well, no, and that's just the unfortunate reality of doing this kind of stuff. Like I said, the only way I'm able to do this show every day is through the generosity of the people in this community. That's just the reality, and I'm not going to bullshit with you about that. You know, I'm not going to say that there's some higher purpose to supporting me in the work that I do. There isn't. I mean, maybe eventually we might be able to get together and talk about some stuff. You know, the fact is, I am trying to make a little bit of a living over here on Twitch by talking about these things, ideas that are not really popular to talk about in our society, ideas that we don't really hear often about in our media or in our political system. The only way I'm able to do that is if people subscribe to the show. That's just the reality. I've never tried to be shy about outlining that to people or cagey about it or to suggest that it's some kind of activism or anything like that to support this program. The higher purpose is community. And I do genuinely think there is something valuable about that. And like I've been saying, folks, I'm starting to, if you're in the Montreal area, I mentioned this the other day. I don't know if everyone was around at the time, but if you're in the Montreal area, we are starting to put on actual in-person events. We have a pilot project. It's coming together right now. It's probably going to be in early December here in Montreal.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Dr. Maggot, for another gifted sub. It's going to be with me, Paris Marks of the Tech Won't Save Us podcast, and my friend Nashua Khan. We are going to be putting on an event probably in early December. As soon as the date is locked down, I'm going to let you know. We're going to start doing some live events and doing some live shows and having conversations and having like kind of a party get together kind of atmosphere. It's something that I think I've been wanting to do for a long time because I enjoy genuinely kind of building a community here on Twitch and online. And I do think there is a value to that, but I do want to take some of that community building and start turning it into like a real in-person thing. So that is happening. Like this is something I've been planning for quite a while, and it's been not really easy to get together, but that is happening. Probably early December. So if you are in the Montreal area or you feel like you could get here for that, we are going to be doing that, and it's going to be really cool. And I'm looking forward to making that a semi-regular or regular thing here in Montreal. Yeah, I mean, if it's something that you feel interested in coming here for, it would be fantastic. Like I said, we are planning on doing it, starting to do it either semi-regularly or regularly, though. So, like actual sociality. That's right. That's right. Is there anything you can do to help? I mean, Jules, not really. I mean, because it's an in-person thing, so it's like it's really just about trying to promote that enough and hoping that I have enough people that are actually here. In Montreal. I know there's some people. There's a bit of a Montreal contingent in like the audience that I have either here or mostly on Twitter as well. So I'm just hoping that we can turn that into like a fun event, you know? A fun event where we talk, we learn. We're all alienated people that are coming together in real life, not just like on this space or on a Twitch channel, but like in person. All these people like that have this kind of feeling of alienation. Montreal in winter. Well, it is early December, which usually is not that bad. Montreal in January, February is miserable. Early December is probably not going to be that bad. It'll be cold, but not like miserable cold. Me, Jackson Hinkle, and Jimmy Dore. That's right. That's absolutely right. Like I said, I went to the venue the other day where we're planning on doing it. It's like this. It's like a venue under a church on St. Catherine Street in Montreal. It's a really cool venue. You know, they have like a PA and stuff. It would be like a bring your own beer kind of thing. $15. You show up, you hang out, you bring your own drinks. We're going to put on a little show, a little conversation, talk about politics, talk about all this stuff. Hang out after in real life, you know? It is kind of a hardcore basement. It's like, that's the funny thing, Cinnamon Challenge. It's like a mirror of my youth going into the church basement to do shows. Anyway, that is happening. That's happening. We're just locking down the date. We're locking down the date right now, but it is happening for real. I'm glad someone brought up Jackson Hinkle. I meant to talk about that today. The way that he's like used this moment to now become like he's like one of the primary like influencers now, which is kind of discouraging, isn't it? Exactly, Emperor's New Clothes, from hardcore punk shows in basements to leftist live show meetups in basements, church basements. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, Dummy Darker, he just passed 1 million followers. And like, I feel like that's kind of a psyop in and of itself, isn't it? They're trying to like, because you don't get that kind of like algorithmic boost just by accident.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Dr. Maggot, again, thank you for another gifted sub. You don't just get that platform by accident. You know, he has people behind the scenes. Like there's someone, he's got a handler or someone, you know, he's been getting boosted to the top of the algorithm. He gets on all these like media appearances, you know, he has these, I don't know where it comes from, if it's a LaRouche thing or what, but it's like he's getting all these like foreign media appearances. And I really think it's like an offshoot of kind of the Alex Jones op, the way that Alex Jones makes all these like certain ideas extremely toxic. The whole idea of InfoWars, the whole idea of propaganda, and like all these like wacky conspiracies, making things like 9/11 become these like toxic things to ever ask questions about. I think Jackson Hinkle's kind of doing the same thing right now for like anti-imperialism or Ukraine or Israel. You make someone like that the face of like anti-imperialism or like the whole like criticism of Ukraine or criticism of Israel, and just like it paints, now everyone in the movement gets painted with that exact brush. And you're like, look at the people that are into this, you know? And then no one wants to be a part of it, and the whole movement gets kind of discredited. I think that's the op that's going on there. He really makes it easy to sheepdog progressives and leftists away from any authentic socialism, yeah, or anti-imperialism, for sure. Yeah, plenty of people, Quaker Oats guy, like seriously, plenty of people have been pro-Palestine with much better analysis. None of them have got close to the amount of growth, and strangely, he's the only one begging for money at every turn. Exactly. Obviously, I would never do that, as you know. Like, look at this. This is like the top pro-Palestine influencer on Twitter. My message for Israel: subscribe to my X Premium for $3 to support my work exposing Zionist lies. And mixing the anti-imperialism with this like manosphere stuff, the Andrew Tate world. You know, it's so fucking weird. And of course, deeply reactionary anti-LGBTQ. You know? I think really trying to like ensure that people don't join that movement or don't want to have anything to do with that movement. AstroTurf to make anti-Zionism look bad. I genuinely think that's kind of what's going on here. Or any anti-imperialism, you know? Anyone then gets painted with that brush. And I think this is what the LaRouche shit, that's where that comes into, right? That's kind of their whole role. The LaRoucheites. If you told me he was an op, I would immediately believe you. I mean, just look, just developing that platform. Like I had not heard, this guy was like, he was part of the March for Our Lives people. Like they did like the activist training for the March for Our Lives group. He went from that to Bernie. And then all of a sudden he was this like blue check verified American patriot communist anti-imperialist with this huge platform. It's really weird. You know? Yeah, now has 1 million followers. Again, he's like one of the top influencers on Twitter now as a result of the last 2 weeks. Do you know what I actually saw? I don't know who this account is, Omar, who posted this. He's a Palestinian Twitter account. Says, this bitch is using my people's suffering just to earn money. I urge everyone to unfollow him. There are plenty of other genuine pro-Palestinian accounts to follow instead. And I think here you can actually see what the op is, like even in this thread. And I don't want to say anything about this account, Omar. I have no idea who it is. But like, look at 1.6 million now. Like it's just growing exponentially. But then look like under. Here's the exact op that I'm talking about. He says he's not a true ally of the Palestinian people. All he wants is exposure, so he'll get ad revenue in combination with the revenue that he's getting from subscriptions. I do agree with that. And then look at this. Do not fall into this trap. He's not a human rights advocate. He's a fascist who stands with the worst tyrants. And then it's like Assad bad. And this whole thing, we stand with Putin, Xi, Kim Jong-un, Lukashenko, Assad, Bukele. It's like, you see then how it's like, it gets kind of mixed up. And you see, like, look at all these bad guys. He's standing with all these bad guys. These people who are against the empire. They had us in the first half. I mean, this is what I mean. And he was supporting Bibi Netanyahu a while ago. He has a tweet that was like, I'm glad that Bibi Netanyahu is there for the multipolar world. I think Bukele is the libertarian Bitcoin guy. The El Salvadorian guy? That was the one I wasn't sure about either. But I think that's kind of interesting, right? You see the op. You say, how can someone stand with President Xi and Kim Jong-un like that? He stands with these tyrants. He doesn't care about human rights. Exactly. You make certain opinions look bad. Bringing up Assad in relation to Palestine, and who's been bombing Assad constantly and who's been taking Syrian land. That's what I mean. I think you see the op kind of in action when you see that kind of comment. I don't want to criticize that account. I know nothing about that account. definitely had me in the first half. Like, definitely he's profiting from this and he's using it for his own personal clout and benefit. But then I find it strange to take that criticism and pivot to like, and he supports all these like enemies of the empire. I thought that was a little strange. That was a strange way to take that kind of criticism. Petter R. I honestly think China's not so bad as it is made out to be. Guess what? You're on the channel right now of Twitch's foremost China respecter and defender. That's exactly why I took issue with that kind of tweet about Jackson Hinkle. This is the most China respecting community that you can find on this entire platform. So if you're going to fit right in, if that's how you feel. That's the whole thing about that I find with people like Jackson Hinkle. I agree with and Haas and all these like patriotic socialist LaRoucheite guys. I agree with them about a lot of things that they say. When it comes to empire, when it comes to like American foreign policy, you know? The problem is they take these correct criticisms of empire, whether it's about Israel. Haas has been saying true things about Israel as well, and also not someone that I particularly care for, but has been saying true things about Israel as well. They often, when it comes to their criticism of empire or their sort of promotion of these kind of figures that are targets of our empire, I mostly agree with them. But then they take that, whatever kind of credibility that they gain from making these arguments, they take that credibility and they lead people down this path of reaction. Yeah, their stances on domestic policies and gender policies is trash can moron shit. Yeah, it's just pure like reactionary. It's like reactionary isolationism, and they kind of brand it as being anti-imperialism. So that's, if you want to talk about the op, whatever op might be going on there, I think that's what's going on. It's similar to right-wing anti-war in Ukraine shit, pure national self-interest arguments. Yeah, or they go right past the criticism of NATO and the role that NATO played in provoking the war in Ukraine, and they go straight into like pure chauvinistic, like Russian nationalism, you know? It's not about critically supporting certain people that are part of this like shifting geopolitical landscape and this emerging multipolar or multilateral system. It's like full uncritical support to President Putin's like very reactionary and chauvinistic sort of regime, you know? And these two positions are very different. There's one like the first position is something that I happen to agree with, even when that becomes kind of controversial. The second position is not something that I agree with. But they take that criticism and they bring people down that path. Haas doesn't do that, though. He's been pretty clear about that. No, but what he does do, though, is take that real criticism as well, and he'll say things that I agree with, and he just brings it into this weird direction and kind of like humiliates and embarrasses himself and turns it into this like weird spectacle where he starts ranting and raving about like barbarians or whatever it is that he does. You know? Yeah, or just he totally humiliates himself talking about like gender politics. And again, it all makes the genuine criticisms that are there seem ridiculous. And it makes you feel ridiculous, like agreeing with these people. It does sound like entryism. Yeah, an organizing tactic popular with fascists, for sure. Yeah. I mean, this is why One Who Reads, I've really been trying to use this platform to articulate a vision of anti-imperialism that makes sense to people and that doesn't go down this path of reactionary thought or chauvinism. You know? A vision for anti-imperialism that's based in internationalism and solidarity and supporting social movements domestically. Not instantly trashing movements for social justice because these movements have been like weaponized by the liberal establishment. You know? This is what I keep telling you. You can have both. You can be an internationalist, you can be an anti-imperialist, and you can and should and must stand with marginalized communities here within the empire as well, and reject the way that these communities are
You've just become an elite member of the friendship
by
triangle.
our liberal ruling class. Crad Babes, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate all the support lately. Thank you. I like you, but fuck Steely Dan. Oh boy. Well, if there wasn't a Dan ban on this show, I would maybe think about responding to that provocative comment. Unfortunately, there is a Dan ban in effect. And this t-shirt is my only way of silently raging against that. Blundered hope. We don't need to rise to the bait, you know. We don't need to give any credence to this. There's no reason. This kind of provocative comment. We will not allow ourselves to be put on the defensive.
You can count on
yes.
me. You're going to have good old Rob
you.
to talk you through all this.
Kijiji Genie, thank you. Yeah, I see you're a new... Thank you for the gifted sub, Kijiji Genie. I didn't think I was kicking a beehive. You see, you're a new community member. You've got the 1 month sub badge, so I see you're new to the community, so I'll forgive you. But as you can tell, this is a hot button issue. This is a hot button issue. If you do want to discuss Steely Dan, you can join the TRRS Discord server and get into the Dan Pilled channel in there. That's where the Steely Dan discussion is allowed to take place. And I will debate you in the marketplace of ideas there if you want to. We don't discuss controversial issues like that, just Stalinism, exactly. Something that we can all agree on. We like to bring people together, not tear them apart. Well, been talking for about 2 hours now. I guess I'll put on, I have about another hour before I have to go pick up my kid from school, so I guess I'll put on some kind of video something. Some kind of video something. Professional broadcaster over here. We got the Palestinian ambassador to the UN addresses General Assembly. That seems like something that would be good to take a look at.
Let me take you to the General Assembly Emergency Special Session at the United Nations on the protection of the Palestinian civilian population. These are live pictures from the United Nations. This is the ambassador to the UN.
If you have an hour this week, you can learn 100 songs on the piano by learning just 4 chords.
YouTube's making me look at ads.
Check it out.
And can you feel the love?
Let me take you to the General Assembly Emergency Special Session at the United Nations on the protection of the Palestinian civilian population. These are live pictures from the United Nations. This is the ambassador to the UN for Palestine. Let's listen in.
Mr. President, colleagues, let us all remember.
Absolutely psychotic that Anthony Blinken actually went to the Qatari government the other day. The free press respecters in the United States government, who of course totally look the other way when Israel openly murders journalists, whether it's Shireen Abu Akleh a couple months ago or whether it's right now. They're just killing dozens of journalists. Killing journalists by the dozens, including Al Jazeera journalists. And they know where these journalists live, by the way. The journalists that are from Gaza, that are being deliberately targeted right now, they know where they live. And they're deliberately targeting them, deliberately killing their families. Like that is something that's happening right now. And when we care about the rules-based order and we care about press freedom, that's how much we actually care about it. Yeah, the same day. So you have Israel targeting actual journalists, including Al Jazeera journalists, and you got Blinken.
You can count on me.
Saying you got to tone down your coverage. Tone down your coverage of this conflict because they're the only ones doing their basic jobs. The people in Al Jazeera. Dr. Maggot, thank you for another gifted sub. And yeah, deliberately killing the families of doctors. Like, there's been shit that's been happening over the last couple of weeks that I just, again, this is how we started off talking, but it just feels like my brain is breaking. It's like they're deliberately targeting these people.
Good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Stick, thank you for the 29 months. Deliberately targeting doctors, deliberately targeting journalists and their families, thousands of kids, and our governments are just like, yep, no problem. No problem. Keep it up. Keep it up. We actually we looked at the clip yesterday of Joe Biden, Genocide Joe. The fact that Joe, I think we watched this clip yesterday and I don't even think it even occurred to me how horrendous it is and how seismic it is that you actually have the United States president, while they're subsidizing and paying for this absolute depravity, dropping thousands of bombs on this prison camp, killing thousands of people. And Genocide Joe is saying we don't even know if they're telling the truth about the casualties. The president of the United States. I think I had a disassociative moment yesterday when we looked at that. I think the actual how profound that is, I wasn't even able to really articulate it yesterday, but you've got the president of the United States saying that. I think that's incredible. This is one of the most depraved things I've seen in my lifetime. You got the president of the United States, again, blaming the whole hospital thing. We think that was the other team. Even the New York Times is starting to call bullshit on that. And you have Joe Biden saying we think they're lying. We don't have any way of knowing what the actual death toll is. That is fucking crazy. Just take a look at the pictures coming out of Gaza right now. Entire neighborhoods being destroyed. Entire residential neighborhoods being completely demolished. It looks like a nuclear weapon has gone off in Gaza. And people are I think they might be lying about these death toll numbers. Again, talk about the cognitive dissonance. This crazy making feeling. And you've got the president of the United States being we think they're lying. And meanwhile, every story that Israel tells about the violence that they've suffered ends up being a lie as well. As always, it's just projection. As always, it's just an admission. That is genuinely one of the worst things that I've seen a U.S. president do in my lifetime. The Bush administration was to the left of Joe Biden's administration on this. It's truly stunning. Anyway, I wanted to mention that. Here's this address to the General Assembly.
We are meeting here while Palestinians in Gaza are under the bombs. Remember that you are speaking while families are being killed, while hospitals are coming to a halt, while neighborhoods are being destroyed, while people are fleeing from one place to another with nowhere safe to go. I urge you to choose your words carefully and to act accordingly. For all those mobilized against an even greater man-made humanitarian catastrophe.
Whole generations of families being murdered. This is the most depraved thing. It's all happening right in front of our eyes. And all our rules respecting, human rights loving, democracy defending leaders are just allowing it to happen. It's truly one of the most sick things that I've seen in my lifetime.
Regional spillover And these are worthy goals. We say, stop the bombs or both will happen. Stop the bombs and save lives, as the President of the General Assembly has indicated. All lives, lives of children, of civilians, of 2.3 million civilians in the Gaza Strip. Mr. President, in Gaza, a father tells his daughter about the birthday he was planning for her and asks her not to miss it.
We simply
mother
use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Rob, really thank you for streaming through this. I can't imagine the toll on your mental health, and before I go, I will sacrifice my chatter cred to make one last pitch to Slub to Rob. Love you, gotta go to class.
Dr. Maggot, thank you for all the support. Thank you for the 210 friend coin. I appreciate it. Honestly, like, my mental health is good. Like, believe me, I'm the last person that's like going through anything right now. In fact, my mental health has been improved by spending time every day and talking about this with all of you. I think my mental health would be significantly worse if I was just sitting on my phone all day and scrolling my phone. I think my mental health has been improved a lot. I think there's been days where it's been difficult or whatever, but like overall, it has been helpful for me to hang out with each and every one of you every day and come on here and look at all these news stories and talk about this stuff. But I appreciate, Dr. Maggot, that you support the work that I do and you support the community. That's what I've been doing 2.5 weeks scrolling. I have constant need to barf. It's horrible. Like, it's honestly, your phone is, if you're plugged into these stories, your phone is just a nonstop stream of just the most the most violent and depraved shit you can possibly imagine. Nonstop. I think the worst it got for me was after the hospital thing. You know, we covered the hospital thing, the hospital explosion on this show. And, you know, you're wondering if that's going to be the event that's going to maybe turn public opinion about this. And then you go after the stream, I sit down, I look at my phone, and I see all the people starting to doubt it. I see all the different stories going in. I see all the official narratives. The OSINT guys starting to
old Rob to talk you through all this.
Spread doubt among this kind of thing. You see people that are even supportive of this idea, people that you agree with, they're going, is that what happened? And starting to second guess themselves. That was the worst feeling. Dr. Maggot, thank you again, Dr. Maggot. Thank you. Yeah, you got to doubt your lying eyes. That's right. So again, it has been helpful for my mental health to be here each and every day with you folks talking about this stuff. Let's continue this speech.
Died before they had a chance to eat. The thoughts that cross the mind of a mother in the face of such grief. 3,000 children in Gaza were killed by Israel in the last almost 3 weeks. I repeat, 3,000 children, innocent children, angels, killed in Gaza during the last 3 weeks. A man embraces his mother and pleads like a child. Come back, I beg you. Come back, and I will take you wherever you want. He hugs her and can let go. But there is no time to mourn. More death is on the way. 1,700 women were killed by Israel in the last 2 weeks. A young man wrote, "We will not leave Gaza."
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Hello, Majority Report. Welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining the stream. It's me. It's Rob. It's nice to see you. Please smash the follow button. If you can. If you're new to the stream, thanks for joining. I hope the Majority Report stream is going today. We're just watching this address of the Palestinian ambassador to the UN. which is really kind of devastating to look at. So thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I appreciate my friends at Majority Report for rating the channel and supporting the show. We're going to go back to that, though, because it's a really important speech, I think, for us to be paying attention to. And it's extremely somber and kind of hard to listen to, but I think it's important to listen to as well. So thanks again.
Time to mourn. More death is on the way. 1,700 women were killed by Israel in the last 2 weeks. A young man wrote, "We will not leave Gaza. We will only leave Gaza to join the heavens." A few days later, he did. 7,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israel in the last almost 3 weeks.
Is anyone tired of the
70%
incredibly disturbing and totally unique to our moment in history phenomenon of following Palestinian journalists and activists and poets and other people, and then just seeing you get to a point where you're reading from them and then they're just gone? At what other time in history have we been able to experience that absolutely awful feeling? It's happened so much. It's unbelievably fucking horrifying.
Of all those killed are women and children. Almost all killed are civilians. Is this the war some of you are defending? Let me repeat, is this the war that some of you are defending? Can this war be defended? These are crimes. This is barbarism. If you do not stop it for all those who were killed, stop it for all those whose lives we can still save. Jinan, a little girl under the rubbles, shouts at the people
it's not a war.
to rescue her.
That was the whole thing with the whole Biden administration, their grotesque statement yesterday. Not only did Biden downplay the amount of casualties Palestinians are experiencing, but you had that State Department representatives being like, hey, it's a war, it's bloody, it's violent, civilians are going to get hurt. I wish I could tell you something different. And we talked about how grotesque that was, because they could be saying something different. They could stop it right now, because considering they're the ones that are supplying the weapons that they're using to wage this. But it's not a war. That's this one part that I didn't even get to yesterday. Well, it's a war. It's bloody. It's not a war. It's an extermination campaign. You can't have a war when one side doesn't have an army. You can't have a war when one side has planes and bombs and soldiers and the full backing of the largest military in the world and all their defense contractors and training and funding, and against the people that are in a prison camp, a concentration camp. That's not a war. You can't have a war when one side does not have an army. Definitionally. It's really sick that our leaders are continuing to support this. It's sick. It's one of the most horrible things that I've seen in my lifetime.
What took you so long? There are 900 Palestinian children under the rubbles, alive or dead, wondering what is taking so long, wondering if any help is on the way. Anas, a little boy who is known as Anous, crawled from under the rubbles, not to find light, but more darkness, devastations and death all around him. His ordeal has only started, not ended. 1,600 Palestinians are under the rubbles, and no one can reach them to save them or bury them. A doctor speaks of a term coined during this war: wounded child with no surviving family. 80 Palestinian families have lost 10 or more of their members. sometimes up to 45 members of the same family were killed. 18,000 people are wounded, many treated in hospital hallways, if at all.
The whole hospital health system is falling apart.
Paramedics who have seen death time and time again break down and cry. This time is just too much. UN staff, humanitarian personnel, and doctors are standing their ground and paying the ultimate price for it. This memory is honored by some as if a natural disaster had killed them, not a UN member staff. As hospitals turn into morgues, doctors and patients alike wonder, is help on the way? Is help on the way? They are not listening to the explanations of some leaders on why the war has to go on. They just hear the bombs. They just feel the blast. They just face all this death trying to survive or to honor the pledge they took to save lives with no means to do so. People are ordered to evacuate. They look at their children. Should we head south? Will we be bombed on the way or once there? Should we go to a hospital courtyard, a UN school, a church, a mosque, sleep in our car in the streets? But bombs are everywhere. What choices do you make as a parent when there are only impossible choices, when death is everywhere, devastation is everywhere? A man stands in front of his house, turned into rubble yet another time. After a long pause, he asks, how do you bury a house? Israel has destroyed over 40% of all homes, making an entire population homeless and displaced. 1.4 million people, in the hope to forcibly transfer them outside the territory. The Israeli foreign minister came to the Security Council and said, this meeting should conclude with a clear message. Bring them home. For millions of Palestinians, there is no home to go back to. For thousands,
this is exactly why they don't want to leave Gaza as well, because they know they'll never come back.
Not by an act of God, but by the acts of a government represented here in this chamber. He spoke of families and their pain. There is not a single family in Gaza that has not endured epic suffering. He told you horrible it was to kill civilians. Just before justifying the killing of Palestinian civilians by the thousands, he spoke of the fear felt by people when rockets are launched. Israeli bombs have not spared a single square meter of Gaza. He believes the difference between civilization and barbarism is who is doing the killing or how they do it. He believes the laws of humanity and of our international law-based order apply to others but not to Israel. That they protect Israeli lives and allow the killing of Palestinians and taking Palestinian lives. He believes Israel can pretend it is abiding by the very laws it is breaching live on your TV screens and before your eyes. That if you say Hamas enough times, the world will not be able to object to wiping off from the face of earth entire families, 4 generations at a time, or to a siege where you let in enough humanitarian aid to pretend you have a sense of humanity, but nowhere enough to address the immense needs that are growing exponentially as you.
Who's this man? Is the ambassador, the Palestinian ambassador to the UN?
He says release the hostages and takes 2 million
Bibi
Palestinian
Eital should get the Hague. You know what? So should Genocide Joe and Genocide Justin. They can all get cells down the hall from each other.
Of Gaza, this is the
Lock them all
equivalent
up.
of 28,000 Israelis killed, including
Lock them up.
12,000 children and 6,800 women, 72,000 wounded, 5.6 million displaced. Is it more shocking now? More unacceptable? More outrageous? Why some feel so much pain for Israelis and so little pain for us, the Palestinians? What is the problem? Do we have the wrong faith? The wrong skin color? The wrong nationality? The wrong origin? Let me address all those who have, in these past few days, explained why one should not call for a ceasefire. How can representatives of states explain how horrible it is that 1,000 Israelis were killed and not feel the same outrage when 1,000 Palestinians are now killed every day? 1,000 Palestinians killed every day. Why not feel a sense of urgency to end their killing? Nothing can justify war crimes, crime against humanity, and genocide. Nothing can justify the killing of a single Palestinian child. Nothing. Nothing at all. Why not feel a sense of urgency to end our killing? Nothing can, as I said, justify war crimes. You are setting us back 80 years by trying to justify what Israel is doing now. How naive one has to be, or how hypocritical to pretend they don't know Israel is voluntarily killing Palestinian civilians. Who can believe that those killed by Israel are, for 70% children and women, and that entire families were killed while Israel is trying to minimize civilian death? They kill all of us, they kill thousands of us, and they say they are trying to minimize.
For sure, it demonstrates why countries have nuclear weapons. We're surprised that DPRK wants to get a nuclear weapon, or does have nuclear weapons and brags about it. We're surprised that Iran thinks they should have a nuclear weapon. Yeah, they should.
Is to minimize. Killing 700,000.
If Libya had never given up their nuclear weapons, then what happened in Libya would not have happened.
We don't need you to offer us semantic reassurances about IHL and protection of civilians. We need you to honor these norms. Honor these norms. Not recall them only to justify their breach seconds later. This selective outrage is outrageous and needs to stop, and need to stop now. These people you watch in your screens for a few minutes a day, every night, while they are being slaughtered, they have survived decades of military occupation, a 16 years long blockade, and 5 wars in the Gaza Strip. They built and rebuilt their lives and their homes again and again against all odds, despite tremendous suffering. They are walking miracles. How could
Yeah, of
you
course
leave
Israel has
them
nukes.
to be killed once again?
We all know that they do.
The answer to the killing of Palestinian civilians is not the killing of Israeli civilians. And the answer to the killing of Israeli civilians is not the killing of Palestinian civilians. Vengeance is a dead end. The only path forward is justice. The only path forward is justice. Justice for the Palestinian people. Don't distort the law. Don't bend it. Don't break it. Don't betray it to accommodate Israel. Uphold it, and uphold it high. This is what we are here for as a United Nations, to save future generations from the scourge of war. Uphold it for the sake of all nations, for the credibility of these United Nations. Mr. President, Wael al-Dahduh was reporting on the massacres in Gaza. For those of you who do not, who is Wael al-Dahduh? He is the field correspondent of Al Jazeera in the Gaza Strip. As he's been doing relentlessly for days now, when he received the news of an Israeli airstrike that killed his wife, his son, and his daughter, he did something many parents do in these circumstances. He spoke to his son, waiting for an answer that never came. He told him, "Didn't you tell me you wanted to be a journalist?" His son wanted to be a journalist, even though journalists are targets in Palestine. Remember Shireen Abu Akleh? Now, the dream of the son will haunt the father. Wael said a few words that I want you to hear well. He said, "They took their vengeance out on our children."
They're doing that they're targeting him intentionally. They're targeting journalists intentionally.
Voice, Malish, allow me to explain it to you. Literally, it means that's okay. But let me tell you what I believe he meant. Let me do it in Arabic. تبا لواقع تقتل فيه غزة.
Shame on this reality where Gaza is being slaughtered again.
تبا لكل من
Shame
لا يحترم إنسانيتنا.
on those who do not have respect to our humanity.
What can the UN can't do anything because it's an arm of U.S. imperialism, unfortunately.
Our suffering.
The country that is doing this has full veto power over anything that the UN does, so it can't do anything. That's the ultimate contradiction. They can't do anything. They can give speeches and that's all. And the U.S., the country that is doing this, has full control over it as an institution and what its values and its priorities are.
On those who justify the acts of the criminal, all those who stand by the predator, or justify or give condolence to the victim, explaining that the killer is not responsible. Shame on those who abandoned our people as we are reeling under these massacres. Shame if a word of truth is not uttered. Shame if I leave the field rather than defending
For sure, Red Wizard,
our
yeah.
people.
We're the belly of the
Innocent
beast.
people.
We have to do everything that we can to dismantle this empire from the inside. I feel like it's more clear to me than ever that that's what our jobs are as socialists, Marxists, whatever you want to say. That's our job. Is to do whatever we can. Is there anything we can do? I don't know.
God is
I don't
our
know.
rock.
I'm not sure, but we have to try.
He is the
though.
dispenser of all affairs.
Oh, it's a great time for an ad break.
What's up?
Hi, Jira. We brought you here
Is at the end of the video? Jesus Christ, that's very appropriate. I love our society. The empire is over either way. Well, that's the thing. It's like the empire is on the decline, and it's even on the decline even more now. Yeah, chicken fried moment. Was there more of that video, or was that just a break? Jesus Christ. Fucking grotesque society.
Finally, I appeal to all of you.
I gotta get a better
Vote
ad
to stop
blocker.
the killing.
My ad blocker, YouTube is not letting me use it
Vote
anymore.
for humanitarian aid to reach those whose very survival depends on it. Vote to stop this madness.
Thanks, John. You can send that to me on
You have a
Discord.
chance to do something. To give an
I use
important
Chrome usually.
signal. Choose justice, not vengeance. Choose to defend the law, not justify its breach. Choose peace, not more wars. Vote to put an end to almost 3 weeks of the worst double standards we have seen in decades. To restore some credibility of this place and the rules it is supposed to embody. Do not miss this chance. Lives are hanging in the balance, and every life is sacred. Please save lives, save lives, save lives. Vote for our draft resolution, and I thank you.
There's a couple things I wanted to look at more before we leave. And again, to go back to the thing that I was saying earlier about Biden denying these casualty numbers. If we thought that was if we thought that was just Genocide Joe with one of his classic stutters, that was not a stutter. This is explicit now White House policy. This is explicit White House policy, which is that Israel is actually not engaging in mass murder because these Palestinians are not being honest and accurate about their numbers of casualties. And I have a tweet that's going viral about this right now, and I was just looking while the speech was going on about some of the people that are quote tweeting it, all people that are just denying that now. This is like a mainstream viewpoint, pretty much. Oh, you believe Hamas, I guess. You see the work that's been done to link the idea of Palestinians and Hamas, just to completely link them together. So that's what you say. You say, like, no, I believe Palestinians. You look at Gaza, it's being absolutely demolished. Yes, I believe that the casualty numbers are accurate. And people are like, oh, you believe Hamas then? You believe Hamas. Just say it. That's what people are saying to me right now. But anyway, this is the explicit policy of the Biden administration now. In case we thought that was one of Genocide Joe's classic verbal flubs. This is explicit White House policy. But, folks, before I preface this, remember, you got the most important election of your lifetimes coming up. The most important election of your lifetimes are coming up. Got to make sure you get out there and vote for Team Blue on that one. Otherwise, you don't even know what bad things could happen when the real baddies take over. Good luck making that argument to people now. Good luck telling, like, Arab communities in Michigan to go and vote for the Democratic Party now. I wonder how that's going to go. What's Biden's approval rating down to like 31% now? No one's buying this shit.
What's he basing that on? How did he reach this conclusion?
Well, we all know that the Gazan Ministry of Health is just a front
for Hamas. It's run by Hamas, a terrorist organization.
There you go.
I've said it myself.
A terrorist organization, according to who? Why, the United States and Canada and Australia and Western Europe and Israel. That's who.
Up here, we can't take anything coming out of Hamas, including the so-called Ministry of Health, at face value.
The so-called Ministry of Health.
Secondly, the president's talking more about humanitarian pause and reviving the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. What's prompting this tone shift?
So, two thoughts here, Steve. For one, the president has never backed away or never stopped affirming the need for a two-state solution. Since coming into office, we've been working on that very hard. I know it's a lofty goal, and it's taken a lot of people a long time to try to get there, and we haven't gotten there. But he's not stopped working towards that goal. And
this whole idea, we haven't stopped working towards that goal. Then tell them to stop building settlements. Like, let's take it, like this whole conflict. Let's just ignore that this even happened. Let's go back 2 years. When did the Biden administration say, stop building settlements or you get no more funding? This whole idea that they're helpless. Oh, we're trying. We've been trying to rein them in. We've been trying to get them to do the right thing. You're not. You support everything that they do unconditionally. You get unconditional billions of dollars in arms transfers and aid going there every single year while they continue to massacre people, while they continue to build these settlements, which are illegal. Everyone agrees they're illegal under international law. Everyone agrees these settlements are illegal. We've been trying to do everything we can to promote a two-state solution. We're simply giving them nonstop funding, no questions asked, military support, billions of dollars every single year, and full diplomatic support with all of their rampant criminality and corruption. Other than that, though, we're really trying. We're really trying to promote this. Just like yesterday when you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's so horrible, this violence that we're seeing. I wish it wasn't like this." Well, it's like this because you're paying for it. You're paying for the bombs that are being dropped on little kids' heads right now. How are these people, these fucking scumbags, how are they able to continue lying like this? Just open lying, like bald-faced lying. Oh, we're trying so hard to rein in our client state that's engaging in ethnic cleansing and mass murder. We keep talking to him. It's the classic good cop, bad cop thing. Right? That's all it is. It's good cop, bad cop. Oh boy, my partner here is really flying off the handle. Let me go in the other room to try and see if I can calm him down. But you need to think about working with us though before we come back in the room, right? It's the exact same fucking thing. That tired strategy. The exact same thing. We're trying so hard to rein them in. No one believes this anymore. No one believes this. This is absolute bullshit. This is a lie. They're fucking liars.
Still believes, as he said yesterday, that when this conflict is over, that still has to be the goal we're driving to, a state for Palestinians that they can live in peace and security and justice. That is a strategic long-term goal.
Yeah, the peace and security, justice, and all that stuff. Until then, we're going to keep funding the bombs.
As Secretary Blinken said, we do think that there should be consideration made right now for humanitarian pauses. These are localized
pauses. This is
temporary,
exact
specific pauses on the battlefield so that humanitarian assistance can get in to people that need it, or the people can get out of that area in
completely
relative
identical
safety. That's what a humanitarian pause is, and we think it's an idea worth exploring. Okay.
Just to follow up on the first thing that Steve asked you quickly about the president's lack of confidence in the numbers that we're getting out of Gaza right now. As you noted, the Gaza Health Ministry is run by Hamas. But to be clear, the president and the White House, you don't dispute that thousands of Palestinians, many of them innocent civilians, have been killed by Israeli strikes so far, do you?
Of course not. We absolutely know that the death toll continues to rise in Gaza. Of course, we know that. But what we're saying is that we shouldn't rely on numbers put forth by Hamas and the Ministry of Health.
So they say it's more than 7,000. Is there any way to assess how many it is? Or the president said it was a pretty dramatic moment when he said, "Yeah, we don't have any confidence that."
Of course,
we respect that you can't take Hamas at its word, but it does appear by all independent journalism, including that by a lot of people in the room, that thousands of Palestinians have been killed.
We would not dispute that.
Okay, then let me ask you if I can very quickly: is the White House satisfied that Israel, to this point, has obeyed the laws of war, the rules of the war, as the president has indicated, and And is Israel, in the White House's view, doing enough to this point to protect innocent lives?
Again, we're not going to react in real time to events unfolding on the battlefield and every allegation and every strike. We're just not going to do that.
I hope these people lose.
It's not until the war's completed that you guys can have an assessment.
I'm sorry.
I didn't say that either.
Full-on
I just said we're not going to react in real time here, Peter.
I want these people to lose.
We have been in constant touch
lose.
with our Israeli counterparts since the very early hours of this conflict to make sure we're asking them the hard questions that we want them to ask themselves.
How can anyone
and
support
to
this
reiterate, as the president said yesterday, to reiterate that there is an added burden here on Israel to make sure that they are doing everything they can to minimize civilian casualties, and we're in constant communication with them about that.
Thanks, Corinne. John, to follow up on my colleague's questions, does the president have faith in the numbers released by the West Bank Ministry of Health, which is run by Palestinian authorities, that says there's been more than 100 West Bank Palestinians killed?
Thank you, Barbara, for 7 months tier 1. Thanks for all the support.
By what President called extremist settlers.
I know of no dispute with the rough numbers coming out of there either. We know that there's been quite a bit of violence in the West Bank as well. Obviously, the casualties are nowhere near the numbers that we're seeing coming out of Gaza.
You got the Netanyahu government arming settlers to engage in terrorist attacks against civilians.
Jake Sullivan and Wang Yi tomorrow.
These people are sick. They're sick. They're monsters. They're murderers. They're fucking liars. They're liars and murderers. This is who our ruling class is, even the enlightened progressive ones as well. The enlightened progressive ones. They're liars and murderers, but they feel really bad about it. That's the difference. That's the only difference you get. That's what our democracy is. That's what you get to vote for. There's two teams. One team's going to do genocide and they're going to like it and they're going to think it's good. The other team's going to feel really bad about it. That's who you get to vote for. They're going to feel so conflicted about it. They're going to feel so bad about it. They're going to use all the words, the special words. They pretend to feel bad about it. Let's be clear. One enjoys it, the other self-castigates. Yeah, we're going to pretend to feel really bad about it for you. So you can feel better when you pull the lever for us. You can feel better about it. That's the whole reason. There's no way that you could support this massacre, this ongoing massacre, and you're a psycho. You're a psycho if you're supporting this. So no, I don't believe they actually feel bad. I think they're sick people. They're murderers. But yeah, I'll perform this kind of self-flagellation for your benefit, for the voters' benefit, so you can think that there's maybe some kind of difference in ideology here. Really, they're sick people. Psychos. This is the last thing I wanted to look at. It's Iran's foreign minister. Interesting shift in the rhetoric there. We've been wondering if this is going to escalate to a wider regional conflict.
I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region. But I warn, if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire. It is our home, and West Asia is our region. We do not compromise with any party and any side. And we have no reservation when it comes to our home's security. I say frankly.
So a shift in the rhetoric from them. I was happy to see this from Lula as well. I know it's he's been taking a bit of criticism for not being forceful enough on this. I know he's kind of buddy-buddy with Netanyahu, but I was happy to see this statement from Lula as well.
Não se trata de ficar discutindo quem está certo ou quem está errado, quem deu o primeiro tiro, quem deu o segundo. O problema é o seguinte aqui, não é uma guerra, é um genocídio que já matou quase 2.000 crianças que não tem nada a ver com essa guerra, que são vítimas dessa guerra. E, sinceramente, eu não sei como é que um ser humano é capaz de guerrear sabendo que o resultado dessa guerra é a morte de criança inocente. Não se trata
like
de...
even potential allies, like even with Lula's progressivism, could still be kind of an ally for Israel, who's kind of like backed Israel's right to exist and Israel's right to defend itself. Like even like potential allies, geopolitical allies, are being totally alienated by this. I would like to see more from China. Again, I would really like to see China step up right now on a diplomatic level. More. That's one thing that I would really appreciate to see right now. I'm hoping that we do see that. China was pretty good at the UN Security Council yesterday. Do you have a clip, Relic? Do you have a clip of that? Wang Yi's supposed to be in Washington tomorrow. Okay, that's interesting. That should be something that we should keep our eyes on. Maybe that's something we can look at tomorrow. Was Lula crapping out? I don't know what you mean by crapping out, but he's explicitly calling out. He's saying it's a genocide. It's not a war. And he's really questioning the humanity of anyone that could wage a war knowing that this is the result. You know, which is a good question to be asking right now. Just looking at Carl Jah's page to see if he has anything. I mean, there is this. I gotta get Carl back on the show, actually. So this is from Ying Zhiguang, a Fudan University IR professor. He says, so you see some of the rhetoric not even necessarily directly from the state, like from people connected to President Xi's regime, Wang Yi or whoever, but you are seeing a lot of these kind of stances becoming very popular in China. If you look at what Chinese social media is like right now, they're very fervently pro-Palestine, to say the least. This guy says the Israeli regime is both an outpost of a contemporary capitalist global empire and a time capsule of the 19th century capitalist colonial empires. Yin Xiguang, a Fudan University IR professor, sees in Israeli Jews the new Nazis for whom Palestinians are disposable. Published on billionaire Eric Lee's Guansha. On October 13th, the Israeli military ordered all 1.1 million Palestinians living north of the Gaza River, including Gaza City, to leave within 24 hours. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been forced to flee their homes and relocate to the desert, where they now live in cramped quarters. They were scorned, abandoned, and abused by the imperialist colonizers, much like discarded items, worn-out relics, and overworked livestock. At the same time, imperialist elites, the humanitarians that imperialism seeks to cultivate, the outstanding citizens they control, and ultimately the imperialists themselves, put lies into people's mouths. They practice the colonizers' art of governance, putting on a benevolent act and claiming we don't fight civilians while committing genocide against Palestinians in the name of the Israeli people. No longer the descendants of survivors of the Nazi killing fields, they are the armed guards of Gaza's open-air concentration camp. They don't even flinch when they cut off the water and electricity supplies and pull the trigger on those humanoids known as Palestinians. Gradually, they have been transforming Gaza into no man's land on which they intend to establish a pure Jewish state. They are the spiritual descendants of colonizers who attempted to establish a purely white man's country in America, Australia, and Africa's colored lands. They accuse those Jews who oppose them of not adhering to this pure ideal. They label as anti-Semitic anyone who speaks up for the oppressed Palestinians and attempt to ostracize their critics, just as they have the Palestinians. This is the greatest humanitarianism in their eyes, while in reality they impose the yoke of racism on everyone else. Facts only. You know, and I think this is starting to be a very common sentiment in these kind of circles in China. Yeah, he's a university professor at Fudan University. He is cooking, yeah. Western society has already collapsed. People are just realizing it. We're in perpetual war. There is no World War III. We're living in it, and it will only get worse. Eat chocolate and fuck often. Thank you, Ben. From China, Xinhua News, China will continue to firmly support Iran in safeguarding its national sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national dignity, and will strongly oppose any external forces interfering in Iran's internal affairs, said Chinese Premier. China and Russia veto U.S.-led UN resolution on Gaza. Ambassador Zhang Jun's explanation.
先生，主席先生，中方对刚刚付诸表决的决议草案投了反对票。这一立场基于事实，基于法律，基于良知，基于正义，也基于来自全世界，特别是阿拉伯国家的强烈呼声。大家都记得，上周三一项聚焦巴以冲突人道局势，强调保护平民，得到绝大多数安理会成员支持的决议草案，由于遭到否决而未能通过。美国在周六傍晚提出一项新的决议草案，这项草案抛开各成员既有共识，纳入许多尚存重大分歧，远远超出人道范畴的内容。中国、俄罗斯、阿联酋、巴西等多个成员对案文提出了修改意见，但提案国无视各方重大关切，仅对决议作出象征性改动，即将决议草案一栏推动安理会进行表决。从内容上看，这一草案严重失衡，混淆了基本是非；从做法上看，这一草案匆匆出台，缺乏应有的共识；从效果上看，这一草案没有反映全世界关于停火止战等最强烈的呼声，无助于解决问题。基于此，这一草案显然不具备获得通过的条件。
Yeah. I mean, they're still being very diplomatic. It's good to see the pushback, but like again, there's a massacre going on, and you know, that's something that I would like to see escalate, this kind of rhetoric. And like I said, I think it's interesting that we're seeing stances like that university professor are starting to become more and more prominent. People will go nuts here if a carrier is sunk. Well, that's the, at that point, then it's, we're in it, right, Decadune? And it's interesting too, because I remember stories from a few months ago before this even started about Biden pivoting to Iran and wanting to directly confront Iran before this even started. So you wonder if this is just now part of this pretext that they're going ahead, they're going to go ahead with something that they were already planning to do, which is directly confront Iran. Biden thinks it's 1986, yeah. Well, folks, I got to go soon, okay? It's been another day of productive discourse and discussion. I'm glad everyone could join. I'll be back tomorrow for the final stream of the week. We are a mere 15 subs away from the goal. Bases in Iraq are being attacked every day
good
right
old
now.
Rob
Yeah,
to talk you through all this.
It really feels like there's something really escalating here. John, thank you for the gifted sub. I really appreciate that, John. Thank you. We're a mere 14 subs away from the goal. So I will remind folks again, if you enjoy this program, if you enjoy this commentary, this discourse, if you like being part of this community, please, if you can,
count on me.
Subscribe.
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Please subscribe to TRRS. It's $5 per month. Diego, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you for all the support, Diego. It's $5 per month. It's completely free of charge with an Amazon Prime account that you can easily transition into a Twitch Prime sub. A mere 13 subs away. Do we have some brave heroes in the chat today who want to support this channel and help once again drag my tired ass across the finish line for the day? Like I said, folks, the only way that I'm able to keep doing this show is if I meet these targets every day. So if you found this valuable or helpful at all to have this kind of this show or this community, then please, if you can, subscribe. Help me make the little number go up. It's the only way that I'm able to keep doing this program. Oh, I can't do any swaying. Can't do any swaying today. I'm all swayed out right now. But a mere 13 subs away, folks. A mere 13 subs away.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
It's within grasp. It's within reach. If you can, please subscribe to TRRS. It's very, very helpful. Thank you, Eigenbat. Thank you, Eigenbat, for the gifted sub. Thank you for all the support. Oh. Remember, when you support this program,
have good old Rob to talk you
not
through
only
all
do you
this.
support me and the work that I do on here in this community, but also we become friends, like Comrade Bushy.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Comrade Bushy, thank you for the gifted sub, and thanks for all the support. And thank you to Ben for the gifted sub as well. Very kind of you as well. Thank you for that. We're a mere 10 subs away, folks. We are a mere 10 subs away from the goal. A mere 10 subs away. A mere measly minor 10 subs. I'm so low energy. Can you hear me? I'm so not enthusiastic about any of this. Very low energy Rob at the moment. It's been a long week. It's been a long week of doing this show and parenting and everything else I got going on. A mere 10 subs away, and now we're actually on level 2 of this hype train as well. So not only can you support this program with a sub or a gifted sub or friend coin or whatever, you also get access to some very cool hype train emotes as well. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that so wonderful? A mere measly minor, I can't even talk anymore, minor 10 subs away. 2 brave heroes could step up
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Dr. Maggot left and then came back to support this show again. That's how supportive. You can count on me.
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Dr. Maggot is my personal physician. My personal physician.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Text to speech goes ro bro 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 bro.
That was so fast. Usually when people do that, it's different. Thank you, Lodane, for the 200 friend coin, and thank you, T-Girly70 as well for the gifted sub. Thank you for that. That's very kind of you. And now I'm measly 8 subs away from the goal. Can we get to the goal before I have to go pick up my kid for school in about 10 minutes? I'm certain that we can. I'm certain that we can. And if people watch this and say, this is so crass what this guy's doing, you know, like I keep saying, it's my least favorite part of doing this. It's the only way I'm able to do this program now is if I make a small living from it. And in order to do that, I must try and make the number go up every single day. I hope people that watch this show and engage with this understand that. I'm sure you do by now. I'm sure you probably do by now, after years of being part of this. It feels a little crass, honestly, Nixon Plumber. It feels a little crass when we're talking about this important stuff. I must say it does. Christopher Crass, that's good. I like that. Rob criticizes capitalism and asks for money. Exactly. I criticize capitalism and yet I must make income in order to pay for my rent. Vuvuzela iPhone. Did you see that the health ministry released a 200-page doc verifying the 7K dead? Well, but the health ministry is run by Hamas, as people keep informing me. So now you're just allowed to just not agree, not believe anything. Just don't believe anything. It's all Hamas, so it's all lies. That's what people have been conditioned to believe now. We got 30 seconds left, folks. 68% of the way to this hype train. We could get to level 3, 8 subs away from the goal. Is there a brave hero that's going to step up? I'm looking to the east. I'm looking for Gandalf appearing over the horizon with the Rohirrim. At dawn's light on the 5th day, look to the east. I'm looking to the east to see, are you my Gandalf?
You can count on me. You're going to have good old
Lodane,
Rob to
you don't need to be my
this.
Gandalf. Lodane should not be the Gandalf in this situation. Lodane is with me in the trenches. We're fighting all the orcs in front of the Helm's Deep. Okay, I won't make a big deal. Thank you, Lodane. It's not from The Hobbit, it's from The Two Towers. I'm not involved in any LOTR metaphors. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. Only 7 subs away, folks. It's not the second Hobbit movie. Now you're just trying to enrage me. Now you're just trying to get a rise out of me. A mere, minor, meager 7 subs away from the goal, folks. That's so close. It's painfully close. It's achingly close.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Crad Babes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Crad Babes, for all the support and for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you for that. Very, very kind of you, the support you've shown lately. I really appreciate it. The best of the 3. I think I prefer Fellowship of the Ring, but Two Towers is very good as well. You know, I actually watched last night with my son the old Return of the King, the animated one. he got really obsessed with that because he saw clips from it on YouTube, so he really wanted to see it. He really liked that. It's kind of interesting. It's not great. It's kind of cool, though. Two more subs away. And Dr. Maggot. Dr. Maggot's generosity will not be made in vain. 2 more itty-bitty subs away from the goal, and all of Dr. Maggot's sacrifices will be justified. Hello, really chill guy. You're right on time. You're close. You're very close.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Crackety Kraken, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you, Crackety Kraken, for that. I really appreciate it. We got one more. It's the Pearl badge, thank you.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Wow, Dr. Maggot again. Dr. Maggot, thank you so much for all the support lately. Today and every other day. And thank you everyone for the support today and every other day. You're still away, Cradbabes, you're still a ways away from the golden triangle. Unfortunately. You're still 8 months away. I'm trying to get Pearl badged. That's right. Exactly. Thanks again, folks. Really, thank you so much for supporting the work that I do on here. I appreciate it. We're going to raid Sean Vids again. Sean Vids is raising money right now for Palestine Children's Relief. So... give my regards to Sean Vids and the Sean Vids community. I will be back tomorrow. Sorry I missed 28 weeks later last night, by the way. I missed the final Halloween movie night, which I was disappointed by. I was parenting and I was also watching the Toronto Raptors season opener, which they won, which was good, but it was a little dicey. They didn't look great. They pulled out the win, though, which was okay. Anyway, I'll see you folks tomorrow. Thanks again. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Goodbye.